Hey everyone, Chelsea here from A Frugal Homestead. I'm out in my garden. It's the beginning of the gardening season here for us in Zone 7A. It's been actually a very cold spring, so this is the end of May and I finally got my garden in. But I'm doing some preventative measures today. We are planting cabbage again this year. Last year it was kind of a disaster. We had cabbage moths and they decimated our few cabbages that did come up. And so this year I am changing how I do my cabbage. I've actually planted it in 2 different locations in hopes that at least one of those locations will survive. And I have invested in some netting to put over the cabbage before it even germinates, in hopes that we can keep some of the moths out, because this year I have goals. I really would like to do more with my cabbage. I'd like to make sauerkraut this year. So I have a few things up my sleeve in hopes that we can get our cabbage to actually produce this year. So let me kind of show you our setup here. So let me kind of show you what I'm doing, where our cabbage is located, and hopefully we'll have it up and producing in no time. I got these garden arches last year for my flower garden, so that we put plastic over the top of them so that we could start some flowers a little bit sooner while it was still a little chilly outside. They worked okay, but I found that it really didn't make that much of a difference. So we have these arches. So I have my row of cabbage and some lettuce. So I've placed the arches over kind of both rows all the way down. I have 7 of them. I cannot put one here at the beginning because we have some really huge lava rocks right in here that we can't pull up. We try and pull up all the lava rocks that we can, but these ones are just so big, they go so deep, that we need to come in and have like a backhoe and all sorts of things to help us dig those up. So we're just leaving those. So we're going to kind of start a couple feet down on our cabbage row and then go all the way to the end. And my hope is the cloth is long enough, I should be able to bring it all the way down here if I want, or these will just be kind of my sacrificial cabbages. So that's kind of what it looks like right now. So we got this mesh cloth off of Amazon. I'm sure you can find it at your local hardware store or whatever, but this was just kind of easy. So I'm going to go ahead and open this up. It comes with some stakes and stuff as well, so I'll kind of show you what those look like. So the package comes with mesh. It also comes with some zip ties here, and then it comes with some stakes so it can stake it down. So it doesn't come with the arches, which we already put up here. So I already had those, but I'll link the arches that I have as well as this mesh netting if you want to go check it out and see for yourself if it'll work for you. This is 24 foot by, I feel like it was 8 foot. Let me see. Yes, 8 by 24 foot. So it's actually going to be probably a little bit wider than what I needed here. But hopefully it will be long enough. So we're going to just try and lay it out and see what we can get with it here. So this is 8 foot by 24 foot. You can see here that I've rolled the edges quite a bit because I'm just going over the 2 rows. So I've got 5 arches here. I have 2 that I didn't use, although I don't think I did cabbage all the way down on this row. And like I said at the beginning of the video, they can be some sacrificial cabbage if I need. So I'll take these 2 arches down, but I mean, this is pretty good. We'll see how the cabbage develops. You can see that it's completely see-through, the mesh is. So water sunlight, everything will get through. This is the cabbage row, and then this has some different types of lettuce. And so we'll just have to wait and see how it goes. I will say though that I need a couple more stakes or anchors. We'll see if I'll go find them or not. I just used some rocks here at the end. And I think I'll put a rock at the front too, just to help keep them on the ground. I think having the mesh rolled on the sides will actually be beneficial in helping keep out any moths, because I don't want the moths. I would like to make sauerkraut this year. That's one of my goals. It looks pretty good. I just came along each few feet and put one of the anchors in, just right through the mesh. And then they also have zip ties. So I'm going to zip tie the mesh to each of the arches, just so it kind of holds its shape a little bit more, just gives it a little bit more support. So there's the zip tie. Just holding that mesh a little bit more, and it goes smooth, it's really smooth. So, and then I'll come through and I can use some scissors and snap those if I want. That just helps secure it just a little bit more, so as the wind blows, it's not knocking against anything or tearing or ripping. It just gives it a little bit more support. All right, our other netting finally came in for our spring garden here. So we are going to get that installed here in this small section. So here's that small section that we want to get netting installed in. We're going to use the two arches here just to give it a little bit of height and just kind of see if we can't cover that entire area with this netting. Alright, so this is a 4x10 piece of garden mesh. It's a lot smaller than the last one, not quite as wide, so it's actually not getting these two here, but I think it's still going to be okay. I guess we could call these the sacrificial cabbages like we did in the other garden, but I think it will work out. I need to get a couple more rocks to put here on the bottom. But there you go, there's my garden mesh. So just a couple things of note with regards to the garden mesh. The one at the upper garden and our main garden was 24 by 8, so it covered a bigger area. This one that I just put in the cold weather garden or spring garden was only 4 by 10, and it's not very big. So if you just have like a small raised bed, that will probably work, but if you have a bigger garden, I would definitely go for the bigger one, and I'll leave the links in the description so that you can grab what works best for you. The other thing is the mesh that's up at the garden was a lot softer, seemed a little finer, and the one that's up here in the cold weather garden is actually really coarse. I don't know if that's going to make a difference, if one will hold up better in the elements or not, but we will see. So just something to think about when you're looking for mesh and looking at the reviews and things like that. Hey everyone, it is the middle of July and I'm out here in my spring garden where we planted our cabbage earlier this year, and I wanted to show you how our cabbage netting is working for us. We have it in two spots. We have it down here in the spring garden and then up in our main garden. So I'm going to show you both of them so you can kind of see, at least for us, how it's done. So here is the spring garden. There's our pool, and then there are a lot of weeds. It's super hot right now. We are in over 100s, so record temperatures for our area for this time of year. Here are my two sacrificial cabbage. You can see, if we get a little closer, you can see they have had some bugs, but I haven't actually seen a whole lot of cabbage moth eggs this year. I have seen a couple of cabbage moths. Here is our netting. Lift it up. And here are our cabbage under here. They're looking really good. This one in particular, I think, looks really pretty. Some of them do have a few holes in them, but not nearly as many as they could have. So they definitely have gotten bugs, but not cabbage moths, at least that I can tell. Being said, I think this first garden, this netting has been really successful for. Like I said, I have seen a few cabbage moths. They're white and they kind of fly around here, but they haven't been able to get to the cabbage, so I haven't got all these little nasty eggs in them, which I am grateful for. So let's head up to the other garden and I'll show you what that one looks like. Here we are up at the other garden. You can see there's a lot more happening over here this time. Before it was just dirt with some seeds in it. But here is our cloth. Now, I didn't plant cabbage all the way. There's some spinach here and some lettuce over here. There's also a lot of grass. This is the first year that's really happened, but we have a ton of grass, a type of crabgrass that's grown in the garden. And I have weeded, but again, temperatures are super hot, so things are a little crazy over here. So here are my cabbages. They're smaller outside of the garden, or outside of the mesh netting. And then you can see some inside there. These ones do have a few little holes in them. They might have, you can see a little bug on that one. So they might end up getting some cabbage moths, but these over here have done pretty well. Through the mesh netting here, you can see I don't see any holes in them. So I call that a win. Here's a volunteer tomato. So I feel like that mesh netting has helped quite a bit, at least so far from what we can tell. We aren't having issues with the moths getting into that netting, so it has been a success so far. So I feel like for what we paid for the netting and for the work that was put into it, it's been successful. Here in the lower garden, it looks like I'll get 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, possibly 11 or so heads of cabbage. That's not counting our sacrificial cabbage that was outside of the netting. And then in the upper garden, probably another 8 to 10, depending on how things go up there. But so far I have not seen any of the cabbage moth eggs being laid. Last year it was like every layer of cabbage had eggs in it, and it was just disgusting, and we really just couldn't eat the cabbage. It was rotting in parts because they had eaten through, and it's just, oh, it was so gross. So I think that using netting has been successful for us. So I would suggest it if that's something that you're looking into, is trying to prevent those cabbage moths from eating your cabbage. If you have other suggestions, I'm happy to hear them. Leave them in the comments of ways that you have kept cabbage moths from eating your crop. And I will make sure to leave in the description links to the netting that we used and all the materials. So we will see you guys in our next video.